In this video we shall discuss data grouping. In the first task we shall show for each year how many books was taken by subscribers. And here is the expected result for this task. To achieve that result we shall write the following queries. The idea here is to take the start date of a subscription, then apply some function year in MySQL, year in Microsoft SQL and extract in Oracle to extract the year part of the date. Then we shall count how many subscriptions were in that year, and then we of course group by that year. And in MySQL we may use the name of that expression and not to write that expression again in group section. In Microsoft SQL Server and Oracle we cannot reference a named expression, so here we have to repeat that expression once again and once again here. And here is some simplified explanation on how the data grouping works. This is the year part of each date of each subscription. The grouping result is the next, and then the DBMS only has to calculate how many lines are here. So we may see 2 lines here, 3 lines here, 3 lines here, and 3 lines here. And those are our final results, our final numbers. In the next task, we shall show for each year how many subscribers were taking books. And of course, if one subscriber, for instance with ID 3, was taking several books, imagine he has visited the library 4 times, those 4 times should be calculated as one visit. This is the expected result for this task, and this is how we can achieve that result. We once again extract year from our subscription start date. Here we use such a huge syntax for Oracle. Then we count, but we count with distinct, the quantity of subscribers using library during that particular year. Once again, in MySQL we may reference some named expression, but in Microsoft SQL Server we cannot do such thing, so we have to repeat this expression. And in Oracle also we cannot reference named expressions, so we have to repeat this expression here once again. But the main difference between this task and the previous one is that distinct keyword here. And this is the simplified explanation. Once again, this is year for each of our subscription. This is the identifier of a subscriber, and you may see that subscriber with identifier 1 was visiting the library during 2011 twice. But of course we use distinct, so that's not twice, that's just once. And here is the result. Here we have 3 different subscribers, so the 3 result here. Here we have this subscriber, so that's 1 visit, and we have 2 visits from this subscriber, so that's another 1 visit. And so this is the result, 2. And once again 1 visit from this subscriber, 2 visits from this subscriber, but that's 1 visit because we use distinct keyword, and that's the result. And in the last task in this video we shall show how many books were returned and not returned to the library. This is the expected result, and now we shall see how can we achieve it. The main difficulty here is to transform that stored value, yes or no, into such human readable form. So we use if expression. It calculates this condition here, and if the condition is true, it returns this operand. But if the condition is false, it returns that operand. Then we only count the quantity of subscriptions and we are grouping it by that status. Once again, MySQL allows us to reference named expressions, so we may write that if expression only once in select part of the query. With Microsoft SQL Server we follow the same logic. Here is how we transform that initial stored value into human readable form. And we remember that Microsoft SQL Server does not allow us to reference a named expression. So we cannot do that reference, and we have to repeat that calculation the first time here and the second time here in the group part of the query. The rest of this logic is similar to MySQL one. And the query for Oracle looks exactly the same as the query for Microsoft SQL Server. We have to repeat this part the first time here and the second time here, because Oracle also does not allow us to reference some named expression. All the rest logic for this query is exactly the same as it was described for Microsoft SQL Server and MySQL. The simplified explanation for this task is the next. Here are our initial stored values. Here is the result of the transformation of them into human-readable form. Here is the result of grouping. And the only thing left is to calculate how many lines are here. So here are 6 lines and here are 5 lines. And that is how we get our final result.